You're listening to the Chronicles of Roosevelt Franklin podcast.
Because I know y'all don't like to read. This just don't make no damn sense, my wife said, walking into the bedroom. I quickly stuffed the remaining chocolate chip cookie into my mouth to hide the fact that I was eating cookies in the bedroom. She looked at me, rolled her eyes, and shook her head. That's not unusual. She does that a lot. What's wrong, sweetie? I inquired through a mouthful of cookie. I ate a sweetie at the end to further distract her. Two things, she said. First is your son, and second is you thinking I won't notice you eating cookies in the bedroom. Damn it, how does she know these things? She read the look on my face before saying aloud, damn it, how does she know these things? She shook her head again. See, I told you she does that a lot. I swallowed the remaining cookie and asked what my son had done. She eyed me and said, I expected certain things to be passed on through the genes. Eye color and hair color. That kind of thing is fine, but you pass along your damn issues. What did I do now? I asked. I'm used to being in trouble in my house, even if I have no idea what I've done. Why don't you go downstairs and see for yourself, she said. Before I can tell that story, I have to tell this story in order to give it some context. When I was growing up, I loved Spider-Man. But I didn't just love Spider-Man. I wanted to be Spider-Man. I was convinced that if anyone in the entire universe deserved to be Spider-Man, it was me. I'm still convinced of this fact. So deep is my conviction to this belief, I just called it a fact. I believe what I want. You can't stop me. In second grade, as Halloween approached, I asked my parents if I could be Spider-Man for the class costume party. They said yes, so for the next few weeks, that's all I talked about. Spider-Man! I'm going to be Spider-Man for Halloween. Spider-Man! Yes! Wow, that's great, a girl named Lori said to me as I stood on the desk doing my best. I'm going to be Spider-Man dance. I'm going to be Spider-Man too, she said. My reveling stopped short. What? You can't be Spider-Man, you're a girl. Yes, I can. Girls can do whatever they want, she retorted hotly. Yes, they can, as long as it has to do with cooking, cleaning, and babies, I said. This was 1972. It would take me another 24 years before I realized that indeed, girls can do whatever the hell they want, whether I think it makes sense or not. In fact, according to my wife, what I think is highly specious and most often irrelevant. As the day of the party drew closer, I became more and more nervous. Since I had not seen the familiar store-bought costume made of cheap red and blue felt and the oh-so-coveted plastic Spider-Man face mask, complete with rubber band that held it somewhere near the area of the head. Don't worry about it, my father said sternly. You'll have it by the day of the party. The morning of the party arrived and there was no Spider-Man costume. In fact, there was no costume whatsoever. I was panicked. How could I face everyone without my Spider-Man costume? Don't worry about it, my father assured. We'll go out this morning, buy the costume, and bring it to school in time for the party. I was relieved, but only slightly. That entire morning, I couldn't concentrate. My eyes kept flashing toward the door, waiting for my parents to walk in, holding the costume aloft like conquering heroes. I played the scene over and over in my head in slow motion, complete with appropriate theme music. When the teacher, Mrs. Friedman, announced that it was time for everyone to change into their costumes, my parents still hadn't arrived. Everyone sat in their costumes cross-legged in a circle. There were 2 Batmen and 1 Superman. I felt naked sitting there in my civilian clothes. To make matters worse, Lori sat directly across from me, dressed as Spider-Man. I hated her. Just then, my parents opened the door of the classroom holding a bag from Zayre's. Yes! I leapt from the circle. Spider-Man! Spider-Man, baby! Take that, Lori! I was going to show her what the real Spider-Man looked like. I reached in the bag excitedly and pulled out the yellow skirt. What? That doesn't make any sense. Clearly, my parents had gotten the wrong superhero. How could they have confused Green Arrow with Spider-Man? Everyone knows Spider-Man's costume is red and blue. Silly parents. What am I going to do with you? I reached in the bag again and pulled out the plastic face mask. I turned it over to reveal the gnarled green face of a witch, complete with a large black mole on her nose. Oh, yes, you heard that correctly. There's no need to go back and re-listen to it. I said witch, as in a girl's costume. Feel free to sob uncontrollably in disappointment if you wish. Needless to say, I was devastated. This is a witch, I said, my bottom lip quivering. I know, my father said. We looked everywhere, but they were out of Spider-Man costumes. Uh-huh, I said, trying to swallow the growing lump in my throat. But this is a witch, and I'm a boy. Do you remember, Papa? I'm your son. I was sure he had forgotten. That's all they had, my father explained. Yes, but this is a witch. I was trying to explain to him through peerless second grade logic that a witch was the exact opposite of Spider-Man. One was spectacularly awesome, while the other one was lame and girly. So there I sat in the circle, dressed in green and yellow. The witch mask sat on top of my head like a cap. I refused to pull it over my face. Superman flew around the class, and the two Batmen jumped around singing the theme from the television series, and stupid Lori whooped it up, spraying imaginary webbing over everyone. My hatred for her grew stronger. I tried to make the best of it by pointing out that, in fact, a witch had magic superpowers that could defeat nearly everyone, including Superman. But everyone saw it for what it was, lame and girly. By all accounts, I should have died that day. The fact that I managed to survive is a wonder to modern medicine. It's a miracle I'm still here to tell this story. I walked downstairs following a trail of Scotch tape. When I reached the living room, I found my son standing in the middle of the floor, decked out in his full-body Spider-Man costume. Sans underwear, of course. What self-respecting superhero wears underwear under his costume? On his head, he wore a cloth pullover mask, just like the real Spider-Man would wear. I quickly went over the checklist in my head. Awesome Spider-Man costume that I only dreamed of having as a child? Check. Naked under said awesome costume? Check. So far, I didn't see what my wife was complaining about. In fact, everything I saw was not only normal, it was fantastic. That's when I saw it. In an attempt to climb the living room walls, my son had wrapped rolls of Scotch tape around each hand. Sweet, I said under my breath. I then went into the kitchen and rifled through the drawers looking for duct tape. It was obvious that if he was going to climb walls, he was going to need stronger tape. For more exciting dope freshness, check us out on the interwebs at franklinchronicles.com.